So do you remember in The Incredibles when Edna is like, "Oh, it turned out so beautiful. I had to continue." Like, I'm thinking about how in my last video I showed a little bit of my journal, and I only showed one, but then I was like, I should show more and share more about the RCA experience. So I don't want to give away too much because if you do get accepted to the RCA program, the graduate diploma, it's an incredible experience that you want to go through, like, and soak in every moment, good and bad. Um, and yeah, experience it for yourself. But I feel like I just want to make this video as a reflection on my personal experience, because it was tough and it was awesome. And I'm so grateful that I did it and met one of my best friends, Roy. Shout out to Roy. And yeah, really thankful that it happened when it did. It was a really challenging time for everyone, but we got through it and so grateful. So I think I'm going to go on to Manifesto's initial thoughts from March 23rd of 2020. So I wrote out my group's manifesto in my notebook and annotated it with some thoughts that came to mind. So, profess, I wasn't actually in person for the first week of the RCA program that would have been in person. My parents suggested that I come back to the States earlier. So that's what I did. And my group, we were group C. We were supposed to come together and write a manifesto. And then our first project would be, a visual representation of that manifesto, but it turns out that I wasn't part of that initial brainstorming session to develop the manifesto. So, yeah, just thought I'd share that. When I first read the manifesto, I was intrigued by how open-ended it was. During my first official one-on-one tutorial today, Alkesh, who was one of my tutors at RCA, presented me a few questions to think about on my own. What are your thoughts about the manifesto? What drives you personally? What makes you tick? What's your interpretation of the manifesto? Alkesh also encouraged me to think about how materials and design processes relate to my manifesto. He proposed I pay close attention to observations I make and figure out how my observations relate to my process. Overall, I am pleased with my group's manifesto. The manifesto definitely provoked me to think of what drives me personally, including my faith, family, and friends. I interpret the manifesto as a call to create and bridge gaps between different individuals or between different groups of individuals. In my visual interpretation of the manifesto, I definitely want to encompass the phenomenon of feeling in between or not completely fitting in. I identify myself as an American, but superficially, I look Asian because I am Asian. I'd like to tackle the challenges Asian Americans experience in understanding their heritage while navigating environments that can be ignorant and even hostile at times. I thought the most thought-provoking aspect of the manifesto was the question, have you met your individuality? I believe every person has met his or her individuality, myself included, but it is inevitable for people to experience change in their lives. Therefore, meeting one's individuality is a lifelong process. The way I used to see myself as an individual today, as a 23-year-old postgraduate, is different than how I saw myself 5 years ago as an 18-year-old high schooler getting ready to start university. Wow. And even 2 years, like I'm 25 now, and then thinking about how I was 2 years ago, I have changed a lot. So cool. I like this. Group C, I wrote down the manifesto that was like on a Google Doc, and then I annotated it, as you can see. And that is it. I will leave this here for a little bit so you can see what our manifesto was. And honestly, I feel like when I first started at RCA, I was like really nervous because I really wanted to please the tutors. And I realized over time that if you try to please one tutor, you're not going to please another tutor. And so you can never please everyone. So the best thing to do is just create art that you think is meaningful and purposeful and heed the advice you listen to, but take everything with a grain of salt, because everyone is coming at something from their own perspective and from their own background. So yeah, don't sweat it too much. I would tell my 23-year-old self that. Yeah, so I think I'm going to share more about the blog. I think this is pretty fun, just going through each post. But I think I'm going to call it a day. So thanks for watching. And if you haven't subscribed, I would really appreciate it if you subscribe to my channel. And thanks for watching.